the days go by, the window to convince the electorate in Edo and Ondo states narrows further. Candidates battle against each other and against time to sell their ideas and woo wider endorsements. There's also the challenge of a pandemic which is still very much around, discouraging the traditional large gatherings associated with campaigns. How does a candidate cut through these encumbrances? Also on Political Update today, Synergy for Development, Executive and Legislature on power sector reformation, plus good news for sacked local government chairman in Imo State. I am Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. The federal government says it is focused on tackling all thorny issues in the nation's power sector. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who chairs the Reformation Coordination Working Group on the sector, was this week joined by the Senate President and the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who heads the Power Sector Reform Coordination Group, is here welcoming the door to the group's meeting, which agenda is for more deliberations on power reform in the country. It is a closed-door meeting, but Senate President Ahmed Lawan and Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, while explaining some of the issues discussed, say government at all levels and indeed Nigerians will not settle for nothing but the best from the service providers.
Well, it was a good meeting. We are still exploring the best way possible to improve the power sector in the country. And of course, the essence of that meeting was for us to look at the journey that we need to undertake to ensure that the discourse and the GENCOs provide stable power in the country, and how we should be able to, as an administration, ensure that there is sustainability in the power sector.
Everybody's on the same page, even in Nigeria, amongst Nigerians, that there has to be cost-reflective tariff, because nobody runs any business at a loss. We're working out a situation similar. That point needs to be made, where it's the top echelon, so to speak, for want of a better way to put it, of the society, perhaps I think 15% of the society, that the increase speaks to, not the general 80-85% of the rest of the country.
The DISCO promised us that they will provide quality service, they will fix all their transformers, they will provide meters, and all this is what we are working with them to make sure it's done. So it's not like one will lose, another one will get. It's a win-win approach we are recommending.
Both leaders of the National Assembly Tuesday this week visited the President and the Vice President to express the position of the National Assembly on the proposed increase in electricity tariff, which the Assembly believes it's not the right time to implement due to the challenges the people are facing from the COVID-19 pandemic.
Ondo, the Sunshine State, will go to the polls on the 10th of October this year to elect a governor. The umpire has officially released notice on the election to the public.
Addressing journalists and other stakeholders about the procedure adopted by the Commission for the Ondo State governorship election on October 10, 2020, Ambassador Rufus Akeju announced that there will be no opportunity for new eligible voters to register, while distribution of permanent voters' card, transfer of registration and replacement of lost or defaced PVC have been suspended for the meantime due to the ravaging coronavirus pandemic in the country. The implication of this development, according to the INEC Commissioner, is that no new voter will participate in the Ondo governorship poll. He also announced that the conduct of party primaries for the emergence of flag bearers will be closely monitored and supervised by INEC officials in compliance with the Electoral Act 2010 as amended.
Political parties primary shall take place between Thursday, 2nd July and Saturday, 25th July. 2020.
Ambassador Akeju explained that Ondo State has 1,822,346 registered voters, with 1,478,4 460 PVC collected, and 372,888 uncollected PVCs.
Still on the elections, the People's Democratic Party, PDP's primary election panel for Ondo State gubernatorial election has screened 9 aspirants. Former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, was chairman of that panel.
The 9 governorship aspirants screened behind closed door Ayitayo Jegede, Senator Boluwaji Kunlere, incumbent Deputy Governor Agbola Ajayi, Dr. Eddie Olafeso, Ben Banji Okunomo, Ben Ayorinde, Otumba Bamidele Akingboye, Mr. Gode Erewa, and Shola Ebiseni.
This is my second major attempt at wanting to be governor of Ondo State, so I am not new to being screened.
While the aspirants await the result of the primary election screening panel, its chairman Yakubu Dogara said that they were thorough with their assignment.
The party will be proud of the exercise we have done, and then nobody will be unjustifiably denied clearance for any reason. Anyone who is qualified, as a matter of fact, it's not even our responsibility to clear them. It's the documents they are putting before us, that will clear them.
The People's Democratic Party's primary election for the Ondo State governorship election is slated for the 22nd of this month.
All right, joining us on Political Update today is Ibrahim Modibo, a politician and political analyst. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And of course, we have making his debut on the program, Honorable Mark Bila is a member representing Gwa East, Gwa West Federal Constituency of Benue State. Thank you for joining us.
Afternoon, sorry.
All right, my director is actually from your constituency. It says Gwe, not Gwa. Thank you for that. Very quickly, let's start this way. Election season in 2 states already, but that doesn't mean governance should stop.
Yes. Thank you very much, Fisari, for inviting me to this program this afternoon. Election is, by the way, is just by the corner. 2 states are in contention, Edo and Ondo. Now, what are we looking at? Consequent upon the fact that we are having this coronavirus, COVID-19, and also the need for people not to converge in large numbers within a particular space. What do we need to do? How do we sell our manifestos? How do we sell our parties? How do we sell ourselves to lead to good governance after getting elected or before getting elected? Central to this is the fact that all politicians for now should use development communication as a tool for achieving this. What do I mean by development communication? I mean communication within the people. Try to approach the people from particular areas, villages, town squares, city centers, wherever you are. As a politician, go and sell. You don't need to gather. You need medium of communication, the radio, the television, and what have you, the town criers, to move into villages and city centers to canvass for votes based on ideological perspectives, based on what you want to do for the people. Now, in both content and character, most political parties, if you look at, we have, so to say, different things we want to sell. But to me, the way I look at it, it's almost the same wine in old bottles or the same old wines in new bottles. Because more virtually, all the political parties are having almost the same thing. You cannot decipher or you cannot say categorically what this one wants to do and what the other wants to do. But I strongly believe that as politicians, we must look at the issue of development. Which central to this is the issue of looking at what do the people want. The people, they want security, they want education, they want social infrastructure, they want peace and progress, and also they want development of the states.
Honorable Gwila, your first salvo.
Yes, let me dovetail from what he just says. Now that shows us the importance of the Electoral Act that this administration and Mr. President have controversially still not signed, because that, in effect, means we start to wonder whether it is by intentional reasons they are not signing the act so that these elections will come to pass and enable some kind of manipulation of the process, or why is it not signed? Because that purpose of getting effective leadership is part of what that Electoral Act is intended to guarantee, to a large extent, the veracity and the transparency of the voting process. And that is something that some of us are still wondering why that hasn't been done.
Okay, let's take a little from what he first mentioned. And as a politician, what this new normal? How do you get across to the electorate as well as perhaps in your case your constituents? No public gathering again. There's a lot of restriction, and in terms of elections, a lot of people will say to do jingles, to do adverts and all could be capital intensive. So what do you do?
Now, that's actually the next point I was going to come to. The COVID-19 pandemic has to a certain extent brought some advantages to the people. Now, why I say advantage is in terms of politicking. Now, as a politician, you are constrained to ensure you do door-to-door campaigning, because gathering people together in one location is now no longer feasible and it's not safe. You have to consider the health of the people. So now, because the electorate, majority of them are in the rural areas, as a politician, our strategy, my strategy, and which is what I'm a proponent of to all of my fellow politicians, we have to do door-to-door enlightenment and engagement with the electorate. That also gives us the opportunity to better introduce ourselves, because a lot of times when you have these mass gatherings, the people never have a true picture of who the candidate is. And we need to start to emphasize the politics of the candidate in Nigeria, not just the political platform. We need to be able to know what ideology you drive, what antecedents do you have, what is your pedigree. That determines a lot what the person can deliver. So that is one strategy that has to obviously be employed. And then when you're constrained in urban areas where it is more densely populated, where some of these gatherings might not be feasible, you can still do them at some sub-regional level, then you look for big arenas where to a certain extent some level of social distancing can be guaranteed, or small town hall events where social distancing can be managed, where you drive your agenda and put it in the public domain by social media or whatever publicity means you can afford to.
We'll come to development issues, but we'll take a few stories now. A legislative amendment that would grant discretionary powers to High Court judges to order forfeiture of assets is on course at the House of Representatives. Let's get details from Lami Ali.
Sponsored by the Deputy Speaker, Ahmed Idris Wasi, the bill seeks amendments to the Currency Conversion Act, also known as the Freezing Orders Act, to enable federal high courts in the country to adjudicate on forfeiture of assets relating to financial irregularities.
To give us more leverage and more encompassing democratic opportunities. Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues, it is just a one-line amendment to remove the power from the President and allow the courts to come in.
The bill passed second reading and has been referred to House Committee on Judiciary. Also passed at second reading is the bill sponsored by Representative Igariwe Iduma, seeking the establishment of Akanu Ibiam Federal University of Technology, Owana, Ebonyi State. Other issues taking its House plenary Thursday are the adoption of a motion from Minority Leader Ndudi Elumelu, seeking the release of the wife of a Lance Corporal allegedly being detained by army authorities, and the motion from Deputy Minority Leader Toby Okechukwu, calling on government to provide security protection to people in parts of Enugu State experiencing attack by alleged herdsmen.
Bringing the killers to book will serve as a deterrent to other criminals elements in the state.
In the meantime, the House has passed resolutions to investigate Nigeria Ports Authority over allegation that it operates a secret dollar account with a commercial bank, as moved by Representative Kolawole Lawal. Also to be investigated are skills acquisition and social investment programs of the federal government and the status of recovered loot by agencies of government from 2010 to date.
Thousands of seized vehicles, cash on transit,
at ports, departures, and other items estimated to cost about 500 billion naira are currently wasting away.
The motion by the Deputy Speaker urging authorities to repair the collapsed bridge linking Wasi and Langtang to Taraba State was adopted, just as House members supported the call from Representative Olododo Cook seeking concerted efforts from authorities to secure the release and safe return of Nigerians in detention in Libya.
Let me start from, Honorable Bila, before I come to you, so that you respond to what you said. We've seen that you and your colleagues are, trying to channel bills and all that. But in terms, based on, this lockdown, and how have you been able to perhaps galvanize your people and hear from them directly to be able to begin to, represent their true, intentions and what they really want from, the House at the National Assembly? Or is it just based on some of your interactions with your colleagues?
No, of course, these are very peculiar and challenging times. So we've had to be innovative in our approach to engagement with our constituents. So even when we try to have engagement with them in the constituency, like I mentioned earlier, we try to ensure that the leadership of certain stakeholders are the people we engage with to get feelers about what their concerns are and what aspects of the economy they believe we should address. And which is why I would commend the Senate President and the Speaker for their effort to drive palliatives during this period of the pandemic, which is one of the things some of us, endeavored to do to the members of our constituency, considering the difficulties they were going through. And allow me to also commend them over the tariffs. I was hoping it's something we would get to talk about, because it is insensitive, in my opinion, to start to increase electricity tariffs when some people haven't earned a living for over 4 months now. It's completely insensitive. We have to address the fact that the discos have not met the terms of their agreement since they took over management of these distribution companies, and a lot of the process in how some of them even emerged is fraught in my own opinion, a lack of transparency. It seems some briefcase companies were handed such valuable state assets to manage, which they have been unable to do. So that is the point I believe we should have addressed first of all before starting to look at the tariff. You can increase the tariff times 100%. If you have poor management, which is what we're seeing by these discos, I can tell you we'll be back here again, back to square one, addressing this same issue.
Let's take it one after the other. You are going to speak about your expectations in terms of this unusual, peculiar times, and how governments should go about trying to reach the people and assuaging their affairs by, getting to know exactly what we can begin to do and what especially the youth can run with, and then responding to the issue of linking, with the people, especially now that it's just a few days ago that interstate movement was just relaxed. So what are your comments on some of the things he's raised?
Well, we have to appreciate the demands and dynamics of operational democracy. In a democratic setup such as ours, there are a lot of major bottlenecks, there are preponderances to have some shortcomings in one area or the other. I think, in general terms, I must commend this National Assembly for its vibrancy. To me, it is as sterile. It is as strong as a stallion, so to say, in terms of meeting the yearnings and aspirations of the common man. Look at the issue they've raised of this tariffs. It is very insensitive, and to me, I think it is the height of callousness for any organization. After this COVID-19, when people have been locked down, some people don't even have food to eat. Some people are starving. These palliatives did not go around. There were palliatives that some people got, but some people did not get. So how can you, at this time, come and think of increasing the tariff? And even that of the petrol increased yesterday. To me, I believe that this National Assembly should also stand up are raised to the occasion by trying to be with the masses. They should put this agenda as one of the major priorities to see that, look, 20 naira to be added from that to 120, which this president magnanimously, a man that has been touched through the pains and pangs of the people, he brought down this fuel to 125 and then to 120 or 122. But these Sherlocks, these petroleum people did not even agree to bring it down to that 120. Instead, they left it at 125. So now, suddenly, as of last night, when it was increased to 143 or thereabout, they've jumped the price. I think there is the need for this National Assembly. I must commend the Senate President. I must commend the Speaker of the House of Representatives for their foresight, for their vision, and also for the fact that they are teaming with the masses in line and in sync
we're running out of
with
time.
Mr. President.
We are running out of time. Let's take the final one. Governance at this time, reaching to the, especially at the state level. What would be your approach? Getting to know exactly what the people want and then acting on what?
Well, as a student of development communication, I am doing a PhD program, in development communication. I strongly believe,
and I hope you pass.
I'll pass. I strongly believe that central to any good governance is the issue of development. There is need for communication between the governed and the masses, the government and the governed. Top-down approach or bottom-top approach. There is need for communication. What do the people want? They are very simple things. If I were to be a governor today, honestly, of a state, I will leave a landmark. By tomorrow, there will be legacies that I will leave that people will yearn and think about it. Not thinking of lining our pockets, but also looking at the fundamental issues of education. Central to this issue, education is very fundamental. Give education to people. Give social infrastructure. Provide food. Give security. Security, the government should not leave security to the federal government alone. They should also assist with the security votes.
It's looking more like a campaign. Let me quickly take the last one. This one is a good story coming from Imo State. For some chairmen of local governments who are already at home, Justice Gabarimgim of the Federal High Court has ruled that elected local government chairman in Imo State sacked in 2019 be reinstated. Let's hear from Kingsley Ononiwu.
The local government chairmen and councillors were elected on August 25, 2018 for a term of 3 years, but were sacked by the immediate past governor of Imo State on assumption of office in 2019, a move that was upheld by the incumbent governor. Delivering his judgment, Justice Garba Ringim of the Federal High Court Owerri knows that neither the state governors nor the state houses of assembly are empowered to sack or dissolve the tenure of elected local government chairmen and councillors. He therefore ordered the immediate reinstatement of the affected local government officials. The lead counsel to the plaintiff, Oba Madabuchi, and other lawyers react to the judgment.
Can you wake up and dissolve local governments elected by the people? Has the president ever dissolved any state?
Undemocratic caretaker committee nominated should vacate the office with immediate effect based on the judgment of the court.
The court has just said that whoever that has existed there was a ghost. Nobody has existed in local government areas since their dissolution.
All right, that's that for from Imo State. We'll be keeping you, of course, updated, and of course, we'll be giving you, the countdown to those elections first in Edo State and in Ondo State. Many thanks to Honorable Mark Bila for coming, and of course, Ibrahim Modibo, who was just here at the nick of time. Thank you for joining us. That has been Political Update for today. We'll be back again on Tuesday for a fresh package. My name is Fisal Gunfi. Thanking you for staying tuned. All the best. Enjoy your weekend and keep it locked on the Nigerian Television Authority, where we give you the very best of news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.